Hello, all you aspiring moguls out there. I am Dr. Tracy Thomas. I'm so excited to be doing this transformational challenge for 2025 with all of you. I am just checking on in with some upgrades for today and just moving all of us forward in this 2025 transformation and really making this year something that very likely has never happened for any of you in your lifetime. And I'm right there with you, as even though I've been transforming lives for a long time, I have made a commitment this year, and this is why we're in this together, to go from just doing transformational activities with my clients, my team, and on myself each and every day to bringing this to you and doing something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, which is to really be there as a leader, as an expert. I am a psychologist and a Wall Street Journal bestselling author of transformational books. I am a TED speaker, an entrepreneur, a CEO who's run a transformation company for many years. And also, I'm a person and I'm a friend. And I'm here to be a friend in transformation. And I'm here to be present in a way that I have wanted to be for years, just supporting and moving in the direction of um, a just bigger level of impact and going really beyond the transformational work that I've done with high net worth clients for many years in high level coaching programs. So I'm bringing uh, what is multi-million dollars of transformation here to this transformational challenge in order to share this with a broader audience. And so our focus is on really doing an epic transformation this year. I'm excited for all of us because we're on this journey together. We are doing this together. And I am in just a massive transformational moment as well. And I think that's really the way it can be most successful is that we're transforming together, that we're really going for our dreams. We're really facing certain things that need to be faced in order to make big changes and moving through every single aspect of transformation together. So today, our focus, among many things, is about really choosing what needs to transform, really facing that, and really coming to terms with ourselves, with the things that we want to change, but really going to a deeper level with that so that we're not just kind of being superficial with it and keeping it like maybe too much in our head or our thinking, and really absolutely connecting with the truth of what it is that we're choosing to change. And we want to go beyond the surface level of what that is, because we can really be connected to things that we want to change, but still be in like kind of a surfacey relationship with that. Everybody to go deeper into themselves today, deeper into what needs to change, both in the aspects of your life and the aspects of yourself, but really going to a deeper level of that, really going to a level of truth, really facing that and making decisions that, of course, are about transformation, and they're about upgrading. They're about improving and gaining more success in your life. And yet, I really want to invite everyone to know that whatever we're choosing to change, the truth is that it has such a massive bearing on your future self, and that whatever you're choosing to change and whatever you're choosing to transform is literally the very commitment to being there for your future self and doing for that future self what is needed. And I want to really have you think about and connect to what that is, what your future self needs, because it can be challenging where we're doing the change with our current self, and we're in this process with our current self and facing all of the reality that our current self has created, which is our former self creating what we created for what was the future self and now is this current self. So we can see that how we were doing things, what we were programmed into doing, all the ways we were programmed into being, got us to where we are right now as individuals. It got us to where we are in our partnerships, our relationships, our communities, our companies, and our world, our countries, all of that. So we can see that based on how we were functioning, we arrived here to where we are with the things that we can really connect to that are very positive and productive, and then also the things that we want to shift. So when we really connect to the needs of our future self, what that future self will wish that we have done, will wish that we have focused on, will wish that we had transformed. This is our focus for today. And so one of the things that I do, and I'm going to do more of in this process of bringing forth transformational change, this is one of my transformational changes. And so as I share this, you might relate to this. It might relate to you. It might connect you to something that is similar for you. But what I want as I share my examples for myself is that you connect to something similar for yourself. And one of the changes that I am exploring through, I am transforming through, is that while the world says, you need to have this, and this way of being in order to be able to help people, for example, online, as a creator, as a leader, as an influencer, one of the realities for me is that I am someone that is really a channel for transformation to come through. And I am someone where transformation flows through me. It shows up, it gives me the messaging that people are supposed to get. And that's what's supposed to be said on any given in any given session, on any given day. And there's a lot of amazing content that wants to flow through me. As just to give you a little bit more information about me and why I can really, help and lead and guide you in a transformation, has to do with being not only a psychologist, of course, and an author and all that, and an expert, but really being born as a human projector. And if you all don't know what your human design is, you can go to my website, theempirecompany.com, click on the human design link, and enter your info, and you'll know your human design, which we'll definitely be going over in the course of this upcoming year. So my human design is that of a projector. a 5-1 projector. And that means I'm a revolutionary scientist and an advisor. And that means my energy system is very open. And while other types, like the manifesting generators, and reflectors, all the different types have different levels of openness. My design is very open energetically. I receive information that is coming to me, and it flows through me, filters through my human design system and all of the aspects of it, and then gets filtered into the support and guidance that I am supposed to be giving. And that's how it's supposed to work. And at the same time, it can be kind of interesting as I transform. And again, I want to have all of you think about the aspects of what you're wanting to transform and how this may fit. This example may, you may relate to it. It has to do with the way in which society or the system that we're in says this is who you have to be in order to be acceptable, in order to be helpful, in order to be useful, and the ways in which we can contort ourselves into that version of ourselves rather than live out the way our human design operating system actually works. And the way mine works is it's much more of a design, an operating system that has an awareness of what guidance and navigation I'm being given by the universe each day and what it wants me to share that is completely aligned with what is going on at this moment in the universe's evolutionary process that is happening each and every moment of every day. And that can be very interesting, given that in order to be helpful in the world and to be valuable, we're taught that we've got to fit into this box. We have to do all these particular things. We have to conform. And in many cases, we're taught to just literally like contort ourselves into a version of ourselves, which is why it can be incredibly profoundly painful to be a person and to try to be productive in this world. And so that can mean that in our transformational process, as each and every one of us chooses what we're going to transform this year and just chooses our priorities of what's on the priority list in the here and now and what will support our future self most. That's an interesting thing, because if I just take the example of, coming on here and building a supportive process on YouTube, building a community where my intention is this year to transform 1 million people into becoming powerful moguls of their reality, powerful people that are positively influential, live in a state of empowerment, and end up by just being more transformed, transforming the world that we live in, because when each and every one of us transforms, the environment transforms. And that endeavor itself feels very pure and very clear to me. And yet the way it is in our society, it's like that has to fit into some particular box so that, it kind of makes sense so that people can connect with this and find it. It has to be so organized step by step by step. And that can be very beneficial because that's something people can follow. And the algorithm will know what to do, and it'll help connect with people that are actually looking for this. And at the same time, as someone who is really more than anything channeling what it is that comes in each and every day in order to share it with people, I'm learning and growing, and I encourage you to do your own version of this as you choose what to transform. I'm learning and growing in how to be able to just literally give the pure communication that wants to come through, and how that can fit in with the way our society works, or even quite simply the way that YouTube works. So I'm in my own transformation, and I would say that this is the greatest, this concept of transformation is really where so much of our population is at, where we are all trying to figure out more than ever at this moment in time how we can be ourselves, live our true purpose, live in authenticity, be valuable and contributing to society without having to literally torture ourselves in order to do it in a certain way that we've been told it has to be. And that's a real exploration to figure that out. Because let's all notice that the people in our world who are the most transformative, who are the most willing to go outside those boxes, are the ones that we're all focused on, we're paying attention to. They're changing the world, and they're supporting the world in its upgrades. They're supporting everyone. And so we've got a lot of mixed information that says these people are stepping outside the box and having so much success, and that's why we're tuned into them, because we're ready for something new and different. And yet, how do I also work with the systems of what they are, or even just to put it in, like, say, YouTube terms, work with the algorithm. So that's the exploration we're on, because it really is, when you really come to connect with the reality of reality, the truth is that people are created in a certain way, and that shows up in their human design system and chart. And we can see that. We can see exactly what we were created to be and what our self is designed to do. And at its core, that is having the universal intelligence literally come through us and filter through us so that we bring these amazing new realities into the world. New concepts, theories, innovations, new realities. And so that the world literally shifts through us and our willingness to receive all of that amazing divine guidance that some people think of it as like downloading, awarenesses and all of that. And the bottom line is that the forces of nature and evolution that are shaping all of everything and trying to evolve us into a new place of being are trying to do that through us, connecting that intelligence through our human design system so it can come into the world, communicate this both verbally, energetically, materially, and create the new world. So this is the exploration. And one of the things that can help, which is coming through, because I'm now, as I've explained this and given it some frame, I find that what's coming through me and wants to be shared with you to help you transform is that I want to go more into the way the messaging for today is wanting to channel through me versus be so perfectly packaged and organized. So what's coming up today is all the ways in which transformation is very much about the willingness to be in the process. And while we're here to choose what we're transforming, one of the biggest priorities is the willingness to choose transformation, because so many people are wanting to be in a destination, in a place of absolute, utter, and total security, stability, certainty, all of that. And being in the transformation and choosing transformation among the other choices in which we are saying, these are the things I want to change. Choosing transformation is one of the most essential priorities that must go on before actual full-scale epic transformation can take place. So the choice of transformation is the foundation. And what's coming through to share with you is that that is really the biggest act of courage and inspiration and support. I'm getting emotional. Wow. That we can give to the world and our fellow brothers and sisters. So being willing to be witnessed, being willing to be seen by our own selves, seen by others, being willing to be all in for transformation is one of the most important things we can choose in order to make transformation even possible. And all of my years of transforming lives, it's like I realize now people would like choose the transformation, they'd make a commitment to it, we'd be moving into all the upgrades, new results and realities. And I realize now that it's that much more important to take the time to really choose transformation on a deeper level than just a surface level, because everybody can go, oh my God, I want to change this. I want to change this. I want to be that. I see all this great stuff going on. I want in on it. And yet the more that I look at transformation, which is how this 2025 transformation challenge is transforming me, the more I look at it, the more I realize for all of us that it's about choosing transformation at the absolute foundational priority. Because the willingness to leave the known, leave the comfort zone, go forward, go in the direction of our intentions is an absolute, first of all, act of sanity, because we can all see what might happen if we just stayed on the course that we were on, where we would end up. It's perhaps very far away from the fulfillment of our fullest potential, and it could even be dangerous for us. We know that collectively, so that's true individually. So we could see the track out if we did not transform and where that could take us and how far off track that could put us, because all we have to do is know, based on the life you really want and you really believe you came here to live, and the one that you have, we can see that our programming is off because it took us to where we are now instead of taking us to where we want to be. So the importance of choosing transformation as an ultimate priority and a methodology for being and a lifestyle is so important as we choose all the other aspects of what we want to change. Choosing transformation makes it so it puts it as a foundational priority so that we can do the things we need to do. And a lot of those have to do with the willingness to go forward away from the comfort zone. And a comfort zone where what happens to humans is they say, well, I don't like it here. And yet the programming is there to stay the same because at least people know how to do it. Even if it's miserable, they know how to do miserable. And when you start to move forward to something else, the whole nervous system, the energy system, the operating system, on one hand, can feel excited and have some hits of dopamine. And on the other hand, can feel like, what's going on? Where are you taking me? I thought this was reality. So now what are we doing? And it can feel really uncomfortable because it gets used to the reality you've been living in, the world, the country, the family, the community, the frequency, the city. It gets used to it. And when you start to make shifts, it's like, wait a minute, I thought my job was to keep this thing going. And you can start to feel resistance to the change. And this is where we need to be able to recognize that and keep bringing forth the intentions that we have of the things that we chose to change. Our intentions and where we're going, our vision is a top priority because every time we hit a moment of resistance, we got to be able to put that front and center. Like, number one, when we hit resistance, we say, I'm totally committed to transform. Number one priority. And then we start connecting more and more to our intentions and our ultimate reality and destiny. So that commitment to transformation and as a primary choice that all the other choices and intentions sit on top of is our key. So I'm really inviting each of you, would love you to share about your commitment to transformation. And if that's something, are you, I know you're here watching, but it's very important to decide, are you going to commit to that? Are you going to make transformation a priority? My invitation is to do so that your future self has what it needs, but it's ultimately a relationship between you and yourself and your future self. And really, it's a relationship between you and your future self more than anything. So when we go to transform, even though we're excited and we're jazzed up and we're like, it's a new year, it's a new you, and all of that stuff, it's really important, everyone, to know that you're going to be moving into a new self, moving into a new reality. And what that means is that, and moving into a new identity, which is one of the important hacks for creating a new reality. What that means is that it's going to be about letting the new reality replace the old one and the current one and choosing the new one. Choosing the one that is of this moment, choosing the intentions and the choices of things you're going to change that are going to be the best for you in this new era. And also in every chapter for the future that will be layered on top of what you do next. And when I think about all the transformations that I facilitated, including my own, and including people in my family, and my colleagues and friends in my life, I think one of the biggest things that I want to share about that is the recognition I'm having right here and right now. which is how much people simultaneously want their ideal life, ideal role, and they want to live at a high level of so deeply, that's such a deep need within them. It's like so profoundly, the need is so profound to live at our highest self. It's like actually really what it is to actually be alive versus be suppressed into another version of ourselves or be off track. And yet simultaneously, while people are desperate, yearning, starving for their higher self, they're literally like almost dying to know that self, to meet that self, to let that self emerge and let them come through and let them come forward. The truth is, they also are so programmed into the current self and previous self that they want to hold on to all of that. It's like somehow I'm going to try to be this version of this person and have their reality while also gripping and holding on to this other one, which these two things do not typically go together. Right? The version of you that created the life that you have now, however good it might be, or also however difficult it might be, that's the version of you that created this. So the version of you that's going to create your ideal life, your ultimate reality, is a different you. And I invite you to know that it's the actual you, the true you, the real you, the higher you. And in order to become that, in order for that to get to emerge, in order for our human design to operate at the top of its capacity, because we are willing to go into a higher frequency self, it's just a really important thing that I invite you all to do, to choose, because you can't be both people. It's too confusing. The laws of physics don't allow it. The laws of physics don't allow you to be, I'm just going to say what's coming up, an immature uh, child self, for example, that is, I'm just going to give an example here, that is sort of like, I've got one, which I'll share, which is, um, for example, in order to be my higher self and the highest one that I can possibly be, which is my ultimate purpose here in this life, that higher self and what it is and who it is, which is my true self, which is my authentic self, and this is the same for you, it is not congruent with a lower self who, for example, is in an emotional child state or identity or relationship. For example, I'm just going to use one with one, I'm just going to say with one or both of my parents, which is, I think, one of the ones that happens for everybody. So if I'm here to be, as I believe you are too, your most empowered, highest level self, then having that try to coexist with a version of yourself that is afraid of your parents, contorting yourself to make, um, lowering yourself to live in their reality, as just one example. That's incongruent with your higher self and that higher self's ultimate destiny. So that's just one example, but I'm going to reiterate that it's very important that we begin to choose. Are we here to become our highest self and all that being is, and to go so far into that the likelihood, everyone, and I'm right there with you, getting, more connected to this, is the likelihood is that self is going to feel very, very different than the self you are now. And that's the point. And it doesn't mean you lose something. It means you gain everything. You gain the self that you were designed to be, because even believing that this self that you are is your actual self when you've been so programmed into something else is confusing as well. So point being is that if we try to hold on to all of the aspects and things and versions of ourselves that have come before the one that we really want to be, we're trying to then create the whole ideal reality off of what the lower version of yourself is, because you want to hold on to that. And that is just the physics of it, just don't work. So the invitation is to choose, first of all, transformation, just to reiterate that, and to choose that higher self as a foundation, so that all the other aspects of that higher self and that higher reality, those relationships, that career, that financial uh, reality, and your destiny, uh, so it can be created off of the higher self, because we already have the data of what this version of you has done. So we layer in transformation and the absolute commitment to it, the willingness to be in the transformation, no matter how uncomfortable, because we're effectively leaving the station. We're swimming away from the shore of the other self, of the other reality, and going into the willingness to go into the new one. So the layers are transformation. The layers are that commitment to that higher self and choosing that, so that we're going to layer all the rest of your choices on top of that. And I want to acknowledge and just share with you and provide all my compassion for what it means to go through a transformational process, which most of the humans on the planet for many generations are just profoundly afraid of, where there's a small minority of the population who keep transforming and keep growing. And then we get to see how great their lives are. But the mass population has been taught, you should change, but then made you scared to death to change, and made you scared and afraid. And this total horrible template and inner conflict about change, that you need it and should do it and be better. All this shaming you to be better, while saying change is scary and it's uncertain and scaring the shit out of you. So it's made your template for change messed up. However, we all know deep down that the way the world is going, everything is showing us that we must be a much higher version of ourselves than what we've been, in order to align with where evolution is taking us. It's a rapid transformation, which is requiring all of the population, quite honestly, to be at the level of transformational change and adaptability that the highest people in our population are able to do. And we're watching them, play this out. We're seeing them grow fast. We're seeing them tell their stories. And we're going to have to get to that level, because those people are going to go to massive exponential level of change. And a lot of you have not even gotten anywhere close to where that is yet. And that, quite honestly, was really the standard for where we've been. So it's a massively new standard for where we're going. And the only sane thing to do is to choose transformation and make it a priority, make it a lifestyle, make the willingness for it. Because no matter how uncomfortable it is to choose transformation, to be in it, to go forward, the truth is that evolution is going to make that happen anyway. We've seen it. It's like game on. And my invitation to all of you is to recognize that it is better to be in the discomfort of change and progress and growth and getting that normalized, like, whoa, I'm changing, I'm moving forward, cool, I'm getting great new success, that feels good. And then also recognizing that you're meant to stay in a state of transformational change so that that becomes completely normalized rather than staying stuck in one version of yourself, occasionally trying a little bit of change, getting a little bit of progress, and then sort of still staying stuck where you are. And this is, again, really important, everyone, to choose the foundational pieces of transformation so that the other choices that you're making about what these intentions are and who you're here to become and the reality that you're here to create can sit on top of that, and that you can begin to get profoundly comfortable with being someone who is in a high level of transformation as a way of being. And this can either be happening by choice at this moment where we're newly entering into this revolutionary pace of change that's happening, or what can happen, unfortunately, is if we don't actively and proactively choose a transformational focus right here and now, and especially 2025, making 2025 your biggest year of transformational change. If we don't do that, evolution and the forces of what it's doing and all the intelligence it's bringing in through the people who are open to fast change, those are the ones getting all of the good downloads, all of like, hey, these are the ideas, go do it, go execute it. And they are so receptive to being in a state of constant transformational growth that if you don't do that, they're going to keep getting all that info. They're going to keep upgrading. And the gap between the highest level people and any one of the mass population is going to just keep growing. And then what's called a forced upgrade starts to happen, where instead of choosing, like, for example, my invitation to you is to choose 2025 to become someone that goes from a slower rate of change to a very rapid rate of change and make this year that focus. If we don't choose that and get on board with that, things will get more and more stressful the longer the pace of transformation is being required to be so much more in our world. And we need to be more adaptable, better at learning, better at changing. And the struggle that people have, the contrast between that and the struggle they want to hold on to the version of themselves that has been and the life that has been, while simultaneously saying, I want to create a new one. These two things simply can't exist. And it doesn't mean that you have to like turn your whole life upside down. It means that a willingness to put transformation as a priority and a willingness to put your new version of yourself and a higher identity, a higher capacity, and a whole new you that is meant to be this new version of you, putting that at the top of the priority list. Again, that is so essential because, that is so essential, while the willingness to release that former version of yourself, to release the former reality in such a way that's not saying like, oh, you're gonna somehow lose all the things you have and therefore you should hold on to them, which is what you're often being told to do. No, 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 no. It's about allowing the new you and the new reality to completely end up becoming your ultimate reality. And then all the other stuff that's meant to happen in there that is so much bigger and better than what it is that you've got going on right now, or you wouldn't be even likely considering this kind of transformation, can actually be given to you. Right? So, this noticing over the years of how much people want to change, and yet, even when they choose a transformational process and they start making all this progress, and they're like, oh my God, this progress is so amazing. And then it's like the momentum gets so awesome. It's like, oh my God, this is it. I've got it. And then what I've seen, which I want to have you take note of so that we can help navigate you through this, is that then when they start to feel like they're getting a distance from the old self and the old life, they can often try to slow themselves down, because what happens is that our whole system is used to the old reality. It knows you're going into the new one. You've chosen to do that. You really mean it this time. You really mean it. You've even gone to a level of depth to say, yes, I must do this because the world is changing so fast. The only way for me to align with it is to flow forward into a new self. However, as people get that kind of momentum, they can their system that is so used to maintaining the previous homeostasis of the former reality, the more it feels that slipping away, it starts to try to go, no, 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 no. My job is to hold on to this version of you, keep you this, keep you in that self, because it does feel like it's dying, like it's failing. And then the parts of ourselves in our internal family system that are playing the role to keep that reality going, they can often start to protect and start to hold back, and they're in conflict with the new self and the way that it's trying to lead you forward. So it's important to know that we've got to, in those moments, choose the transformation, choose the new self, choose the upgraded intentions, choose the version of ourselves that can actually align with where the world is going, and not just be dragged behind and try to keep up with it, but get ourselves into such a place that we are aligned with it, we're collaborating with it, we're rolling with it, we're flowing with it, and we are leaders of the reality instead of reactors to it. And the good news is that when we choose transformation, when we say, I'm willing to be the new version of myself, I'm willing to have the new reality, I'm willing to say, I had this version of myself. I know what that is. I've had this other reality. And we don't grip to it, and we don't cling to it, and we don't try to say, I want to be this amazing self, but somehow I still want to do these low level behaviors in my relationships with people, or in my world, or in the way that I treat myself or take care of myself. These things just don't go together. They just end up averaging out. And if we don't, you is very significant, because in choosing the new, you're making sure that when the self and your whole energy system that is used to maintaining this other you and is really committed to that, that when it's got a choice between the old you and the new you, that it will choose the new you. Because if from where it is typically, even when the new version of you is getting so much reward from that, feeling so good and gaining momentum and gaining a positive feedback loop, if it's important to keep choosing to go forward in that transformation and be willing to leave everything else in, just be able to let go of that, be able to say that was for that time and now I'm in a new one. It's really important because if we are in an inner conflict between wanting to be our new self and wanting to be our old self because it's comfortable and we're not yet used to the new self, so we feel like we're in the in between and nobody likes that. We got to get used to that. The self is so used to decades of the former self, it will just retract back to that. And then you will have to start the momentum over because it has more years, more muscle memory, more momentum for being the old self and the old life and what that has been. And it has all these things in your life that are reinforcing it around you, your environment, the people, the system. So being willing to choose the new version of yourself, especially as you feel the old self sort of detoxing out of you and your former life detoxing out of you, which can feel a little concerning, and it can feel like you're losing something, and it can feel like maybe you've got to grieve releasing that self. And as so many of the top great leaders in the world say, and they kind of say it even more straight up, like you got to be willing to let that self die. And some of them say you got to be willing to kill that self. And it's a pretty powerful set of directions. So the willingness to choose the new intentions, to choose the changes, to choose the transformation is so key, everyone, that each time your old self and new self are like fighting between who's going to win, it's going to be really essential that the new self has the arsenal, has the commitment, has the intentions in order to carry out its mission. And this is very exciting as well, because when this didn't used to be this way, but now because we can watch all these amazing people online transforming themselves, and you see them year after year go into new versions of themselves, new iterations, new skill sets, new endeavors. And you can see it. I mean, never before have we been able to see this, where you can watch someone's 10 years ago self and see where they are now. They have dramatically transformed. They are not the same person. And while they have themes that continue on through their human design system that are their purpose, thematically staying with them, but taking on new aspects of it, which we're all meant to go through. And the more I train you over this year about human design and how that's taking you through different phases of you, it'll make more sense. But the simplest version is to know that we've been given now a front row seat to the benefits of all the amazing people that you can see online transforming day by day, year by year, chapter by chapter, endeavor by endeavor, and being willing to say that was the moment of that self and this is the moment of the new self. And what they keep doing is showing you what transformational momentum can do and what it's like. And the momentum is so great, you see that it ends up because that's their commitment, and their commitment is also to changing other people's lives. And that's one that we'll talk about for you as well, that they're so willing to go forward in the momentum, they're willing to leave the other self and the other reality in the era that was its time. Now it's time for the new you. So you can see it. And yet the skill set is to be willing to be in the transformation, and therefore to a certain degree in the transformational discomfort, until it becomes so normative to keep growing and changing and up leveling that you begin to not even notice it anymore. But you've got to get that part in your system. And so what can happen is that when we're going to transform and we're choosing a new reality, a new self, a new reality, a new destiny, when we get uncomfortable, we can start doing old behaviors. We can start like kind of going like, well, I'm in between. I feel so uncomfortable. Yourself can be expressing anxiety. Like, what is it? Are we A? Are we B? Where are we going? What are we doing? And because you're not completely in the level with which you start to get really programmed into the new self, where it like you don't notice it anymore. When you're in between, people again can often retract back to the comfort zone, and which is what I want to change here and have you all keep choosing the path forward, the path to the new you, to the ideal you, to the ultimate you, and to the mogul version of you, the most empowered, again, powerful, transformative, positively influential, wealthy, successful contributor you can be to the world, because it needs it. And without your contribution, you can see where it's going. So sitting on the sidelines in whatever version of yourself you've been won't get us to where we need to be, but becoming your highest self will. And that's the main priority that you have. Everybody thinks we have to do 5 million other things. This is the thing. Okay. So we're going to choose to be willing to go through the transformation. And with that, all the aspects of the new you and the new reality you want, and all those intentions are going to be supported by the choice that in any given moment, whatever occurs, you choose transformation. You say, even if I'm in between, even if I'm in the middle, even if I'm a quarter through, whatever it is, as uncomfortable as it can be, and also very exciting a lot of the time, I'm willing to become that highest version of myself. I'm willing to move through it. And the invitation is to be willing to become someone who can live in a normative state of growth and transformation, where that again will become so normalized and replace where it was like people sort of stay stagnant in a certain self, years and years go by and they try to do some changes, and they, can look back on their life 30 years later and they've only changed a little bit. And when they look around, a lot of their life is the same, with only small bits of things changing. For the mass population, that's the truth. That's the reality. So we got to be willing to make such a shift that we become so comfortable with being in a state of transformation that the universal guidance and forces and messaging and intelligence that comes into everyone can come to you and through you and be made through you the way it is for all the top people that are in the world leading, and the and the people that you're inspired by. The difference between you and them is that they've made transformation a way of being. They've made that the choice. And that allows all the amazing newness, all the what's up next stuff, all the innovations, all the new intelligence. It allows it to come into them and flow through them, being made into a new reality, into a material form. And that's where we want to get your system into. We're effectively getting it into a state of flow. All amazing new reality can flow through you because you will allow that, and you will allow yourself to effectively be the conduit and the channel for a new reality coming through you every moment of every day. And in that way, we become people where we say, all right, universe, utilize me to make what you're here to make. I'm on your team. I'm rolling with the upgrades. Okay, everyone. This is our transformational focus for today. I want to have you all take that in, really be deciding that you're committed to transformation. I'd love to see it in the comments. If you are, you're completely committed to being a transformational being and aligning with the amazing pace of creation that the universe is doing and increasing and inviting all of us to adapt to that. This is about becoming our mogul selves. This is about becoming transformed into that highest mogul leader that can lead this amazing world that is in fact an empire and a dynasty if it's done correctly with all of us co-leading it. We're here to lead the empire and the dynasty of the world. You're here to become a co-leader of it, a co-creator versus a passenger. That's what becoming our top mogul self, living in that mogul identity, becoming connected to our power and the power of the universe's creative capacity and what it's trying to get everyone to do. It's about coming out of the resistance of anything else. It's about being a rapid transformational being who eventually won't feel rapid, it'll feel normal. It's about being willing to become a top level mogul. I'm right here with you, moving through that process, going from one reality that we've all been in for a long time in the previous era into this new one, and aligning and supporting and being on the journey together, because I have so many of my own transformational priorities to do. And so right here, right now, today, I too commit to being a transformation, to sharing it, to showing it, to letting go of a version of myself that was all about this, some sense that, the programming that was about it needed to be perfect in order to show it and say, see how great it can be. That version is, I'm leaving her behind. That's what she needed to do in that era. In this era, it's saying, I'm making the changes I'm making. I'm here to grow. Now, before I wrap up, it would be great for each of you to also post in the chat on the comment section also the other priorities and intentions that you have that you want to change into. I'll share one of mine, or a couple of mine. One of mine is to be able to become a morning person. And that is also why I'm choosing to do lives at a particular time in my particular time zone, to make that happen, to put that infrastructure into place. I'm here to become a morning person, even though I'm an evening person, because I was born in the evening. That's where a lot of energy kicks in. I'm here to become a morning person and reprogram my whole being into that. For a lot of different reasons, it will help me create a lot of other things. That's a foundational one for me. I'll just share that. And I'd love to hear any one of you. I'd love to receive even one transformational upgrade you're committed to. I'm committed also to really becoming great at doing this process with you, because I've been doing it in a certain way with certain people for a very long time. And I've wanted to do more and more of this and thought I needed to somehow perfect this craft before I prioritized being someone that helps people regularly on YouTube. And it's kind of silly when I think about it, but the point is I'm going to learn it. You'll all get to witness that. So you may, so my intention is that as I grow and change, more and more of you will be able to appreciate more and more of what I do, and it will be more transformative for you. And in the meantime, I'm willing to be the growth in progress. I'm willing to be the mogul in the process of transformation, even though right here, right now, I could say, I wish I was already there, like just absolutely in the highest level of production and capacity for you. And I'm also aware that this is its own craft to be able to do this on YouTube. It's its own muscle to be able to do things live. It's its own capability to be able to understand how to go from transforming people in a coaching company under a certain infrastructure to transforming millions of people into a new reality. And this is the process, and I thank you for being here with me. Now, one of the things before I wrap again is that I would love you to do is subscribe to the channel. If you've even gained one upgrade out of this process, even just one in this time, to hit like and share this also with someone that you think can benefit. This is a way together we can transform a lot of lives, and a lot of people need a total transformation from the ground up and at the deepest level. As much as I'm excited to support you, I can also say that one of my transformational priorities is to be able to say, I need help too. I may be a leader, a doctor, an author, a speaker, but I need help too. And it would be great to receive your help and to have a mutually beneficial relationship of transformational upgrading and success. So thank you. All right, moguls. May you transform profoundly today. May you receive so much successful progress and start gaining momentum as this transformation sends you on your way. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.